All right, folks, we're getting going here live today. This is an interview with one of our successful healthcare business owners, Bob Wilke. We call them licensees. Those of you who are kind of new to these webinars, when somebody signs up with us to start their own business in medical billing, we call them a licensee because we license to you our system that we've proven over the last 22 years that actually helps you get a business started. So let's go to the next slide here. I want to introduce myself for those of you who've never been on the webinars before. I'll just leave that on the screen so you can read a little bit about it there. But basically, it boils down to this. Folks, I started this business with my wife back in the early 90s, and we started licensing other people to duplicate our success because we had started our own medical billing business and became successful. And we went on from there to build the company up to, like you see it today, 22 years later, having people from coast to coast who have started their own business and duplicated our success in this business. I'm an author. You can see my books on Amazon.com or on any major bookstore. There's a couple of them there on the screen. And those books are written for our licensees' education, but you might want to actually get a copy of that yourself. The one on the right, for example, is a summary of what our business is all about. We use it as a marketing tool. Our licensees can purchase this book from us. It's $14.95 retail, but they purchase it from us for about $3 a copy. That's our printing cost. And they use it to educate the doctors and the office managers out there about what our business is all about and how they can serve them and help them with their cash flow. We basically set people up in business doing medical billing. It's a cloud-based system, which means that you can access it from any computer, anywhere in the world that's connected to the internet, and do the billing. Yes, you literally don't have to have anything on your computer at all. Nothing's downloaded at all. It's all out there in the cloud. It's a wonderful way to run a business nowadays because you can do it from anywhere and hire people anywhere and have clients anywhere in the United States as well. Now, if you haven't been to our website, this is a picture of it right here. It's absystems.com, and you can go out there and find out more about our business if you haven't already learned about it. Be sure and watch that little video right on the front page. And if you want to know more, click on that little orange button up in the corner there, and it will take you on a tour of our electronic brochure, we call it, an e-tour, and tell you even more about it. It looks like this. Once you get into the e-brochure, you'll see that we tell you all about these. There's dozens and dozens of videos, testimonials, and other good information on there. So be sure and click on that and fill it out. Now, folks, there's a lot going out there on the internet nowadays. A lot of scams, a lot of scam artists. We've been in business for 22 years, and we have an A+ rating. That's the highest rating they give at the Better Business Bureau. There's a lot of places out there that might say things about different companies, but trust somebody who's been in business since 1917, the Better Business Bureau. So you can just type in Fort Worth Better Business Bureau, put in our name, American Business Systems, and you'll find out all about us there. We do have offices here in a little suburb of Fort Worth called Keller, Texas. That's me and my wife, Linda, there in the foyer, and you can come visit us anytime. Just call us, let us know that you're coming. We will prepare for you. We'll pick you up at the airport if you fly in, and we'll give you a tour of the offices, let you meet all of our people, and sit and just ask all the questions you want about anything about our business. Well, let's get right into our interview today with Bob Wilke. Bob, you there?
I'm here.
Look, here he comes, live. Well,
From New York.
almost live.
I want that younger face back.
Oh, there? Well, that was back in, what'd you say, 2007?
2007.
That's when you and Molly, your wife, came back through training and set through that. Was that a full week back then? Was that, we were doing a week's training?
Monday through Friday.
Yep. I think it was only a couple of years before that, Bob, that we had like 3 days training is all we did. So as we started adding some of our ancillary programs and services, we had to expand that training to 5 days. But what was your...
Great week. Best week of our lives.
Well, thank you. You know, that's good to hear. And yet I hate to hear it because that means you don't have much of a life. If that was the best...
Professionally.
Oh, professionally. Okay. Well, thank you, Bob. And man, that's 8. Is that 8 years ago? Yeah. It was in December, wasn't it?
Over 8 years. It's December.
So just over 8 years now. It seems like yesterday, doesn't it?
Yeah, what's your book?
I'm going to start it out by asking Bob where he's at right now. Bring us 8 years later. Here you are. What's going on with your business? How many people do you have as clients and that kind of stuff, Bob?
Well, it's been 8 years, as we stated. Started with zero clients, had no experience in the industry at all, and now we have it's either 14 or 15 clients, various shapes and sizes, different categories. We have 5 employees plus Molly and myself. Uh, and we do this full time. And that's, I think, one of the things that it's one of the questions I get the most from some prospective licensees. Do you do this full time and are you making a living? And yes, yes. And as I said, spending that week in Fort Worth just over 8 years ago was well worth it.
All right, so we've got a question already coming in here from John. He says, Bob, what was your background?
Nothing to do with this. I was in the world of sports collectibles. I put on the National Sports Collectors Convention for about 15 years, worked with celebrity athletes, selling sponsorships, had a radio talk show that resulted out of that for about 7 years on Sporting News Radio. So nothing like this at all. And so when my wife and I married, she had moved here from Scotland and decided she wanted to do something. She didn't want to be a stay-at-home wife. So I said, pick a business, do what you want to do, I'll support you. She came back, she'd done her research, and she wanted to go to Fort Worth, Texas to be trained in medical billing. I said, I'll go with you, because I had nothing to do at the time, and to be supportive for her. And when I got out of it, we both realized this is a way for me to get off the road. I was flying about 100,000 miles a year, and we could grow a business together. And it took us about 3 years to get it going because I had to phase myself out of my other business with my partners, but we did it. And so, as you can tell, nothing at all like medical billing.
Wow. Hey, that's a good question here from Sharonda. She says, Bob, did you start your business while working full time?
Hard to say full time. I had my other business that was kind of it was real full time during certain months of the year and not much during other months of the year. So it was on again, off again in terms of our efforts to get our billing company up and going. So there's probably not a solid answer to your question, but I think you can understand that it wasn't until I finally sold my business to my partners at the end of 2010 that we were able to devote full time to it.
Well, let's see. Sophia says, how long did it take you to gain all those accounts? Can you give us a feel, Bob, for like how long did it take you to get the first account? And kind of tell us the story there of what happened at the very beginning.
Well, first of all, I'm going to stipulate it ain't easy. It's a lot of hard work, and you have to stick with it. And you have to be committed to starting your business. But that's not unlike any business. If they were all easy, someone would be doing it. They'd all be doing it.
Yeah.
So after we're in business for a year, we joined BNI, which I'm sure you're going to hear more about, Business Networking International. And that allowed us to meet other business professionals who are trying to grow their business as well. And so as a result of that, right away, we got our first client in 2008. She owned a small massage clinic, which has now grown into a rather large massage clinic. And then we didn't have a lot of clients again until about 2011, again, because I was busy with my other business. But interesting story. We were given a referral by a member of our BNI chapter that there was a mental health clinic that was looking for a biller. We contacted them, and they said no, but they had us do some other ancillary things that certainly Patrick will be familiar with. So we kind of kept our foot in the door, and within about another year, we got their first clinic, which is still our largest client, and then just this past summer, they gave us their second clinic. So patience pays off. So we have a number of clients now that have come along since 2011, 2012, and some of them have referred other clients to us.
Yeah,
that's my story. Sticking to it.
we get that question a lot about, how long does it take somebody to get this business up and running? Well, it depends on whether they're working full-time or part-time, or whether they've had any background at all in any kind of business or marketing. That would make a difference for some people. Although I've had people go out there and try to do the marketing they did in their previous business, and it doesn't work in this business because this is different, isn't it, Bob?
It's a whole different animal. It's pressing flesh. You'll excuse the expression.
Yeah.
You've got to meet people. The more people you meet, the greater opportunities you're going to have to add more clients to your client base. So that's why we joined the chamber, we joined BNI, and whenever I'm out talking to people, if the opportunity arises, here's what I do. We help doctors get paid from their insurance companies quicker and faster, and get less claims rejection rates.
Yes.
Some of them.
Yeah. In fact, we've got one question here from Jesse. What is this program, and how does it work? Jesse, that means you probably haven't gone to our website and read a lot about it. But in a nutshell, we teach people to take over the billing for doctors and collections from their patients, and handle all of that for the doctors. And you collect a fee, usually based on a percentage of the amount collected. And we do that through a software that's out there on the cloud, which means nothing has to reside on your computer or the doctor's computer. It can be done through any computer that has an internet browser. And it's a great system, isn't it, Bob?
It really is. And you put it perfectly. There's nothing to download. If your clients want to have access to it, they can as well. And your data is safe and secure.
Yeah. Aaron says, Bob, at what point did you decide to hire employees?
When we got so large, we couldn't do it ourselves. It's because, and by the way, it's a real delicate balance, making sure that you have enough employees to get the work done, but at the same time that you're not overtaxing yourself in terms of payroll. So budgeting is a big part of this business as well. Knowing what to charge so it's profitable, what percentage to charge the doctor with fees, and then you have to balance that with the number of employees and what you're going to pay them, to make sure that when you're all said and done each month, you're paying your bills and taking care of yourself as well.
Good. Now, here's a great question. I've never heard this question before. This says, this is from Dan. He says, how has the medical billing business changed from 2007 to 2014? Well, actually, it's 2016, but anyway, is it more difficult today since most doctors are using electronic medical records and electronic billing in order to adhere to Obamacare?
I wouldn't want to say it's more difficult. Certainly it has changed. Deductibles have gone way up for most subscribers. Number one. Number two, co-pays have gone up. So what that means to the doctor and to us as their billers, that there are going to be higher balances, patient balances, and you really find you have to stay on top of that. For us, we don't just file claims with the insurance companies for providers, we also bill the patients. So we send out statements each month. So we have to monitor those patients to find out, make sure they're making their payment, paying their co-pays and co-insurance, which is very time consuming. But remember, you also get paid on that. But we find sometimes we have to turn some of those over to collections, so that's a whole other thing. So there's just so many things you do as a biller. The other thing that's changed a lot is not only deductibles and co-pays gone up, but with ICD-10, which I don't think had anything to do with Obamacare, makes it just more time consuming, depending on the provider, to file claims on behalf of your clients. So yeah, things have changed. I think it's probably been more difficult on the subscriber, the consumer, than it has been on the biller. It hasn't been that much more difficult for us. That's a roundabout way of saying it ain't that much harder than it used to be.
Yeah, we just kind of adapt to whatever changes come down the pike. That's one reason, a good reason to be affiliated with us, the nation's largest network of independent medical billing companies, because we keep on top of all those changes and help our licensees stay up with that stuff. But for doctors, I think they are struggling, Bob. I think for them it's overwhelming, all of the changes in electronic medical records, ICD-10 coming out this past year, Obamacare, all of that is just overwhelming. I mean, more and more of them are deciding, you know what, I don't need to be messing with this billing. I should be focusing on my patients and turn this over to somebody who specializes in that, an expert.
Well, and that's true. In fact, I just got a call today from work. Now, keep in mind, I'm in Seattle, and I was telling you before we got on the call, the webinar, that we got a call from somebody in Kansas City. They've got a clinic, and they're tired of doing the billing themselves, and they want to talk to us about doing it for them. And that's something that's neat about being an ABS licensee, is you can provide the billing services for anybody in any one of the 50 states. You can do it all remotely because of the faxes, email, the internet, the cloud, iClaims, all of that is accessed online. So you never have to meet your client. I'm still waiting for that first Hawaiian client to contact me because him I would want to go see.
Yes. Now, Bob, that brings up a good question. Do you have any clients that are outside the Seattle area?
We do. We have just one. She is a nutritionist, dietitian, and she's on an island off the coast here of Washington State.
Huh.
So never met her, but we just do everything remotely, and it works fine.
So you never met her. That means it was a referral?
Yeah, it was referred by one of our other clients, another dietitian that we do billing for. So we talk maybe once or twice a month on the phone, and we go back and forth on faxes and emails, and she has access to the same program that we do, so she can access all of her information 24/7 if she has any questions, or just simply pick up the phone and call me.
Okay, hey, Bill is on here today. Hi, Bill. He says, is there fluctuation in income in this business? Like, is it seasonal?
Not at all seasonal, and you might find that in December, if you're basing what you get paid off of a percentage, things might be slightly less because doctors' offices are closed during Christmas Eve and Christmas, but it's minor. So no, it's not seasonal at all. It's pretty consistent.
Yeah.
So that's one nice thing. It's not like a ski resort where it's 6 months out of the year you're not making anything. So very consistent.
Yeah, this is not a fad or seasonal type business, is it? It's based in reality, which is people get sick, they go to doctors, the doctors have to get paid, somebody has to bill somebody for the doctor to get paid, and that's where you come in.
You'll find that your doctor clients really are reliant upon you, and if you do a good job for them, they'll really. To quote one of our clients, the day before Thanksgiving, I asked her if she's going to enjoy the time off of Thanksgiving weekend. She said, tomorrow morning, I'm going to get up, I'm going to make a list of those people that I'm thankful for, and you and Molly are on it.
Oh,
So
really? Oh, well, that was sweet. Andre says, Bob, how do you like what you do now?
I actually do like it. I'm more of a people person, so I'm not good at sitting behind a desk doing details. So I'm out as often as I can, visiting with our clients, meeting other people, networking, shaking hands. But if I have to get behind the desk, I don't mind doing that either because well, it's all hands on deck sometimes. So I honestly tell people I enjoy what I do.
I don't know if Sharonda's asking this question because we both are older or not, Bob. But she says, did the cloud exist 22 years ago? It didn't. That's funny, but it did not.
Rain clouds, but snow clouds, but no iCloud.
No, there was no internet back then. If I remember, it kind of started coming into the early 90s, and when IBM, of course, got involved and came out with their PC and kind of competed there with Apple Computer, who was the first actually out there. Yeah, but it has changed, Sharonda, and the nice thing is that it's changed for the better because without the cloud, you would have to have CDs, with your software on them that you would put in your computer, load all that on your computer, and that is the computer you have to do your business from. With this, you could go on a trip to Hawaii, take your laptop with you, and run it from anywhere that has again, if you just have an internet connection, which that's almost everywhere now.
We have to go to Scotland this summer, and we'll access all of our information from Glasgow, Scotland.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be great. I'd love to go to Scotland someday. I bet that's beautiful.
That's beautiful. You'll have to join us there in all your spare time.
Yeah. Let's see. Charles says, is there any reason to deviate from the training in Fort Worth? I don't know if he means the way we teach you to go out and do the business or do the marketing, for example. Did you try some things that we didn't teach you?
Absolutely. Sure. Look, you taught us some great things and valuable things. You still do, if I may point out. It's nice to be able to pick up the phone or shoot an email off to ABS support and ask for assistance in something. You and your staff have always been responsive. And you still provide webinars for your licensees, showing them how they can get in to see doctors, how they can improve their business, how they can make their business life easier and more efficient. So, but once you've gone through your training, you'll adapt. You're going to find, well, that didn't work for us too well, for whatever reason. Maybe it's the area that you live in. So you might change it up a little bit, or you come up with your own program. And if you do, by the way, and it works, please share it. And I know Patrick has told this many times to us. Share ideas and things that work for you. We may try it out ourselves. So be flexible, but be teachable. And I think that's the most important thing. And that's the one thing that you'll learn when you come to Fort Worth is that you need to be teachable because you're going to be taught a lot. And if you really follow what you're taught, you're going to be successful.
Yeah, Bob, there have been people come through the training and they'll go out and try something that we didn't even, teach in the class. And, it turns out that it doesn't work for them. And then they call us up and say, you know what? I tried that. It didn't work. I tried what you taught and, we got our client. So we teach about a dozen different ways to go out and actually find clients and do the marketing because let's face it, that is the hardest part, isn't it, of any business, finding clients.
It is. And the one thing that really worked for us that you taught us and you pounded this into us, and I'm going to suspect you still do with your licensees, and that is network.
Yeah.
That's how you get up to your best chance of getting clients.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what worked for us. I'd say out of all of our clients, all but one came directly or indirectly as a result of networking.
Wow, that says a lot. Yeah. And then
the other one that didn't came to us as a result of the free seminars that you encourage us to put on specific topics.
Okay.
And we got that client by doing one of those, which is fun because I enjoy putting on seminars because there's usually a microphone present.
Yes, and you're an old radio host, aren't you?
Well, old anyway.
All right, let's see. Jesse says, how do you get clients with no experience?
Well, and that was the scary part. I will tell you that when we first became licensed and started to go out and contact doctors, we would always say, what are we going to say if they say, can you give us some references? And so our response was, we started our company within the year. We have a professional background. My wife's background was in pension plans. Mine was in putting on events. We're professional people. We have 1,500 other offices around the country, ABS licensees. And so we have plenty of resources to turn to if there are any issues. And additionally, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you even encouraged us to make relationships with some of these other licensees so that they, in turn, could give us a testimonial as well.
Yeah, and that's why we also teach people to position themselves as, look, don't tell them that you have 10 years experience if you don't. You just say, I just opened up a brand new office here in this city, but we're a part of the nation's largest network of independent medical revenue managers. That's what we call our licensees, because you're managing the revenue for the doctors, right? And so you can even say, in the corporate we sense, we bill for hundreds of doctors from coast to coast, thousands of claims every day. We collect millions of dollars in revenue that doctors wouldn't see otherwise. That's how you position yourself, and that's all true. Our network of licensees do all those things. So it'd be like opening, if you just opened an office for Century 21, you may never have sold a house in your life, but you can say that you're a part of Century 21, and that positions you as at least somebody who knows what they're doing. So.
And I might point out to you, Patrick, that obviously that concern has come and gone. And it's, by the way, it's seldom that a prospective client asks us for references. Not that they haven't, but the majority of them do not. Why? Because we're usually recommended by somebody that they know.
Yeah, once you start getting the referrals, it's a no-brainer. Matt is asking a question I think we addressed earlier. Bob, do you have any business in other states? You do, in one other state, you said.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's here. It's within the state. It's an island off the coast of the state we live on.
Oh, just off the coast of Washington, yeah.
I got a referral from someone in Kansas I mentioned earlier that I'm going to call after we get off of this webinar.
Now, here's a question. Here's a question from Aaron that we want to be careful here, Aaron, not to delve into Bob's personal business, but he is asking about, with 14 clients, what kind of gross revenue does that generate per month? Instead of that question, Bob, if you don't want to ask that, just answer maybe what kind of gross volume of collections do you do for those doctors? Do you have an idea as to what the total is for?
I can say this with great confidence, that if you're successful, you can get into six figures and six figures easily in this industry. And that could be on the low or high scale of six figures. It depends on how aggressive you want to be, and how capable you are. But the potential to make an income in six figures is entirely possible. How does that answer the question?
Yeah, and that's one way of saying that is that you're billing for the doctors and collecting their revenue from the insurance companies and Medicare, of course, and their patients, and you get a percentage of those collections. So if you're collecting $100,000 a month for a doctor, which is not unusual for a general practitioner at least, then
Not at all.
then you're going to be charging 7% of that for your services. And so you can do the math on that and see that there's plenty of money to be made in this. You don't need really 14 clients probably to make a fairly decent income. I would say executive income. Most licensees get a handful of clients and that's all they want. They continue working just like you, Bob. You don't have an office, right? You're working out of your home.
Right, we'll do that as long as we can. I like that. Although the refrigerator being in close proximity isn't good. But I will say, and what we found too is we're not, and I don't want to use the word picky. We have clients that have a gross monthly billing cycle of about 10,000, and we have those that are doing hundreds of thousands. So we get a percentage of regardless of what they do. So if it's 10,000 and we're charging 6-7%, you do the math. It's not a lot of money, but you have cluster five or six of those together with 3 or 4 that are in the 100,000 plus category. You can make a really nice living.
Yeah. All right, let's see. George says, do doctors have any reservations about the data being on the cloud? Are there any concerns over security?
You're going to find that in any industry. Many businesses rely on the cloud now to store their data. And so it's the way the world is right now. It hasn't become an issue for us because I think most doctors are somewhat familiar with it, with that concept, because some of them may already have a cloud-based software that maybe they're happy with the software, but they don't want to do the billing anymore. You may be asked to take over their software and need to be prepared to do that as well. But it's not hard. Once you know one, you kind of know them all. So no, it hasn't been a real issue. Not to say it couldn't be.
Yeah, and we as a company, we have hundreds of licensees and we have thousands of doctors on this system and have had for over 10 years now. And we've never had any problems with that. That's because we have to be as secure as any of the banks are because we have to follow the security and privacy rules of HIPAA for the U.S. government for patient privacy, basically. So you have to be you have to have redundant servers, meaning if one goes down, another one is completely, redundant or a duplicate of that. And then it has to be backed up nightly, off-site on another secure server. So, with those kinds of things in place, we just have not had any problems with that. Doesn't mean we couldn't have.
It's not unlike our banks. They have to do the same thing.
Exactly. And anything could be hacked. Anybody who says you're unhackable is just asking to be hacked. But, so far, it's just been very, very secure. Let's see. How long... Oh, this is from Donna. How long did it take you to train them? I guess she's talking about your employees, maybe?
Well, it varies. Our first employee, Tricia, who's also our office manager, is a paralegal by trade. But she has come in and picked up on it. By the way, we segment what gets done at our company as well. Tricia does our postings for all of our clients. That's a rather large and can be a difficult task. Some of our builders and coders already came to us with experience, so there wasn't much to do. We have one that started with no knowledge. She went to nursing school, working for us almost full-time, but officially part-time. And so we had to train her. We also work with interns and externs. We have an extern right now that's doing a wonderful job for us. So training, it just depends on who you want to hire, how much experience they have, and what you want to pay them.
Yeah. And like you said, everybody's different. Individuals take different training. But you said you indicated that you had some medical people who had some coding background even.
We have 2 of them. Well, actually, one of them lives in Connecticut.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So she's a long distance telecommuter.
She is, and so we talk to her once a week, and she sent by phone, or more if necessary. She sends us a weekly report. She has worked for us for I think since October, but we put in an ad in Indeed our first time. That's a great resource, by the way, if you're looking for employees. And she caught our eye with her resume, and so we hired her, and she's just worked out great.
What was that resource again? Deed, you say?
Indeed.com.
Just like it sounds.
Indeed.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed. Yeah. Okay. Huh, cool. I don't think I've even heard of that one. Let's see. Now, Edward says, Bob, what and how much work do you actually do? Is this a data entry job? Is it a sales job? What is the mix? And if you hire employees, what is it that you are hiring them to do?
Well, it's all of the above. Marketing is a big part of it. And of course, there is data entry. That's normally we hire people to do that. Although, again, if it's a busy time and suddenly we're short, if somebody's on vacation or we're short-staffed, Molly and I will do data entry as well. But that's a big part of what we do. And then, of course, there's times we work a lot of hours and a lot of days. So, but when you're a business owner, you just come to expect that.
Yeah. Let's see. Jesse says, how many transactions do you do with an average customer? So can you give us a feel for, Bob, the average doctor? I guess he's asking about, how many transactions, how many claims do you file for an average general practitioner, for example?
Well, I know on average it's really difficult to say because we have one client she's a one-man show, if you will, and she's a naturopath and an acupuncturist, and on an average week, there might be 30 or 40 claims that we file for her, maybe probably as many as 40. Our largest clinic, it's in the hundreds per week.
Yeah.
Because there's 8 to 10 providers in both locations. So you do the math, each one of those hundreds a day, or hundreds a week rather.
Yeah.
So I've never added it up, but it's a lot.
Yeah.
Probably 800 to 1,000 claims per week.
We have a little calculator on our website there, folks, that under income potential, you'll find a little calculator. You can go in there and plug in the numbers. But, an average doctor can see 20 to 40 patients a day. And if you do the math on that, that could be 100 to 200 claims a week that you're doing for them, 800 to 1,000 claims a month. And so, it just depends. But it doesn't take long to do an actual claim, does it, Bob? Once the data's in there for that patient, it's just a couple of numbers you change.
It's zip. It's rather quick because again, all the demographics and insurance information is in your program, and then it's just a matter of entering CPT codes, GX codes, making sure all the data is correct, and sending it off. Push of a button.
Yeah. George says, how often is the software updated to keep up with changes in the industry? You probably don't even know that, Bob, do you? Because you just log in and you're always using the latest version, aren't you?
Yeah, it's kind of like, it is. I was going to say like Internet Explorer, but I wouldn't want to compare you with them. It's automatic.
Yeah, because it's in the cloud, folks, our programmers behind the scenes are always tweaking and adding to the program. And so every time you log in, basically, you're using the latest version. And by the way, how much have you paid for those updates, Bob?
Oh, let me see. Let me add it up. I don't need the calculator for this. Nothing.
That's right. There's no charge ever for our updates on the software. And the same thing
which is a great selling point if you're talking to a prospective doctor, client, because odds are they've already purchased or have purchased, or know somebody who has purchased very expensive software and very expensive updates.
Yeah.
And there's all the training that goes into it, and precious time is lost training, and suddenly the person you've trained for the past year leaves.
Right.
You gotta bring in something else, and then there's a new up. It's constant. Whereas with cloud-based software, iClaims is fabulous.
Yeah. They outsource it and basically forget about it and concentrate on their core competency, which is seeing patients.
Exactly.
Let's see. Okay, Barbara says doctors do not need a specific software. Your doctors don't have software that's installed on their computer, right? With you doing the billing.
Other than electronic medical records, that's all they need, but you would have that, will have access to that as well. Beyond that, no, they don't. And again, that's all cloud-based as well.
Right. Yeah, these are some screenshots of our, what we call it EMRX, electronic medical records. And yeah, it's made for the iPad too. I don't know if you have any doctors using the iPad, Bob, but they love it once they start using that.
Fabulous.
Okay, let's see. This is from Dan. What is an acceptable range to charge a practice?
Again, a difficult question. It's real easy to say 5, 6, 7, 8% because we have clients that we do charge that too. We do the billing for a home health care company. That was a different one. Didn't see that one coming, hadn't even thought about it because it's a whole different kettle of fish. And their claims can be quite costly, high in terms of the resubmissions that come back from the insurance companies. Yet the work is not that difficult to file a claim, so we actually charge them 7%, but there's a cap of $500 per claim. So the most we can make on a claim is if it comes back at, let's say, $1,000, we're only going to charge them 7% on $500, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Some of the claims can be $20,000, and it's a relatively simple claim to file. So you're going to find that it varies, and that's why ABS is going to teach you how to prepare a proposal before you actually put it in front of the doctor, because you're going to do what they call a practice analysis. So you'll find out all the information you need to find out how much you're charging per patient or per insurance company, and you'll actually, when you're all said and done, you're going to know their monthly volume, and then you'll be able to base your percentage on how much work is involved and what your total volume is going to be per month. Am I right, Patrick?
Yeah, that's part of our ongoing lifetime support for our licensees is we will take a look at all your proposals before you give that to the doctor because we've been doing this for 22 years. So we kind of know whether you're leaving money on the table or if you're charging too much and might not get the account. So that's good feedback from us. Again, at no charge to you, and it's always optional, of course. You don't have to. It's your business. You can do whatever you want to there, of course. Okay.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, why wouldn't you? Let's see. Karina says, how long does it take for the client to transition to the cloud system? If a doctor's already on their own software, of course, they just stop using that and access iClaim.
Right, and there's going to be a transition from old to new, and the data has to be now taken from the old program, put into the new. And so they're either going to do that themselves, or you're going to charge them an extra fee to do it for them. And hopefully you'll charge them an extra fee, an additional fee, so you make some additional revenue from doing that.
Yeah.
Did you just wave at me?
I'm waving at my granddaughter. I've got a 6-year-old granddaughter here that's over here today, and I'm working out of my home too.
You had that grandfather look on your face when you did it.
Yeah, she's got Poppy wrapped around her finger. Okay, let's see. This is just a statement from Rashid. They said it is being outsourced to India for a cheap price by doctors. I guess some doctors can outsource their billing to India, I guess. I don't know why they would.
I've had a small experience with a group that contacted us a number of years ago, happened to be from India. Some promises were made and not kept. And I won't go into detail, but it's difficult to work with someone in another country. And I think that would be a difficult challenge for anybody in any industry. So it's always best if someone wants to give it a try, they're welcome to it. But why would you do that when you can work with someone typically face-to-face in your own backyard?
Yeah, I think doctors like the fact that you're, at least accessible to them. Even if you're dealing with a doctor in another state, they know that they can get a hold of you, that they can talk to you about anything that's going on with their revenue because, let's face it, they don't know what's being sold on the open market. Your patient data could be sold by somebody overseas to the whole world if they wanted to, I guess. The point is, you usually get what you pay for. So. And you sign a contract with someone in another country. Show me the judge that's going to help enforce it. Yeah.
That's different.
Right.
Very difficult.
Yeah. Let's see. John's asking about what your gross monthly revenue is. John, we kind of talked about that a little bit earlier. It's based on the number of claims and the percentages and that type of thing. But as Bob said, there's easily a six-figure income involved in doing the billing if you have the number of clients that Bob has. It's all possible. And again, everybody's going to be different. We don't guarantee any kind of revenue for our licensees because everybody runs their business different. And I have licensees, I can assure you, that are making $500,000 a year. But most people don't want to share their revenue figures with other people because you might work for the IRS and we don't know that. So well, anyway, let's see. Here's Elvis. Bob, if you are planning to work as a one-person office, how much do you think the individual will be able to handle per day? Okay, so I guess he's saying if you hire one person to work for you, how many doctors could one person do the billing for, typically?
Well, I mean, again, it always depends on the size of the doctor's clinic. But if it's a large clinic, I wouldn't think more than one. And when I say large, they're doing over 1,000, 2,000 claims a month. If you're specializing in chiropractic or massage, you can do multiple providers. So it really does vary. It really just depends on how many claims you're going to be filing, how many claims you're going to have to inevitably follow up on, because there's always the issue of follow-up because of denied claim for whatever reason. You might have the wrong subscriber ID, your insurance might have lapsed and you have to get the new insurance card, but there's always that to follow up on as well. So I'm sorry I can't give you a specific answer, but I can tell you that depending on the size of each provider, you could probably easily do 1,000 claims a month, if that helps.
Yeah, 250 a week, that's 50 claims a day. Yeah, that shouldn't be a problem, not since it takes you less than a minute to do a claim. All right, let's see. Dan says, what's the most difficult task that you have to do during the normal course of a day or week? What's the most difficult task?
Well, getting insurance companies on the phone and talking to them. And I'm excluding Medicare from that because that's even more time consuming. Fortunately, not many of our clients take Medicare. None of them take Medicaid, so that's fortunate for us as well. But dealing with insurance companies, that's probably the most difficult. It's just part of what we do. And then the marketing can be challenging, but you're not always marketing once your business is up and going. What I mean by that is when you're first getting started, you're really looking for clients. You need clients to get your business going. Once you've got your clients, then you're looking for more clients, which are more selective. And let me elaborate on that. We took a client on almost 3 years ago that was doing very well, that had a horrible age billing issue. It took us almost 2 years to clean that up. That's how much of a mess it was. We promised ourselves we'd never take on a client like that again. Glad we did it, glad we had the experience, we got paid for it, but it really demanded a lot of our time. But we were early doors, we wanted to make sure we needed a client, so we took it on.
All right, let's see. Tavares says, what are both of your approximate hours daily? I guess she's talking about you and your wife. Do you work on weekends?
Sometimes we do work on weekends, yes. The previous 2 weekends we took off. We went out of town both times, so that was fun. But there were weeks when we worked 7 days or weeks we worked 5. We do probably put in 8 to 10 hours a day, Monday through Friday. We work.
Yeah, it's a real business, right?
Exactly. I don't work for somebody. It doesn't get done. If I don't do it, it's not going to get done.
I tell people this is a part-time business. You literally can work any 12-hour period of the day that you want to. Okay, folks, if you would just work as hard for yourself as you are working for somebody else right now, you could make a whole lot more money probably. Let's see, Rashid says, how do you connect to the doctor? Do you provide them a software to use? Do you have any doctors that log in to see their reports?
We invite them all to. I don't know that, well, other than our largest client, they have access and occasionally they do log in. But otherwise, they don't. There's a trust factor involved. And as long as you're communicating with your client doctors on a regular basis, providing them with the reports that they need, and above all, if they keep seeing the checks showing up in their account from all the payers and from their patients, that trust is going to remain intact. So that's the most important thing of all. And so I try to visit our clients, those that are here within our area. I try to visit with them at least once a week, if not every 2 weeks, just to let them know we're there, we care, and address any concerns that they may have.
Yeah, so Rashid, if you want to give access to the system just so they can see the status of their claims or their money, you can. You simply give them, it's a web address that you give them that they go to. It will ask them for their ID and password, and then they have access to the data. So you can't fool the doctor, can you, Bob? You can't mislead them or lie because it's all transparent. It's right out there in front.
It is, and what Rashid may have been referring to as well is how do they communicate information to us? How do we get the daily super bills? How do we get any EOBs, remittance advice that they might have gotten back that they need to get to us? So that's why we have faxes today. It's certainly okay to fax, and we go by, pick up, drop off. So there are a number of ways to communicate. There's also secure email. Of course, it has to be secure. You just can't send it on a regular email address unless, well, I'm not going to go into that. But you need a secure email address if you're going to send anything back and forth. So today's electronics, it's in technology, it's real easy for them to get that information used so that you can file claims on their behalf.
Yeah. Dan says, other than the initial license fee to ABS, how much did you have to invest to get your practice up and running?
Actually, it wasn't that much. First of all, you're not going to take out ads in your local newspaper. If you do, then you miss something in training when you're visiting with Patrick. There are business cards, there are brochures, membership perhaps in a networking group or your local chamber, but those are all nominal expenses. You may want to set up a website, things like that, but those are things that you're going to set up and operate regardless of what kind of business you're going into. So no, trust me, there are no hidden fees or other expenses that are going to pop up other than those that I just mentioned. A business license, a business insurance, things that you would establish and set up if you're running any business.
Would you say everything you just mentioned shouldn't be more than $1,000 even, should it?
No, not in today's market. Yeah. No, not at all. No.
Now, by the way, I said that because you may not be aware of this, Bob. I don't think we included a website when you became a licensee 8 years ago, but we do now, so that's included in the package.
Oh, that's a great bonus.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's you could spend $2,000-$3,000 developing the website we provide. Let's see. Rashid says, "Do you guarantee the collection of money to the doctors?"
You can never guarantee for a number of reasons. We guarantee that we're going to file the claim, and if it's at all possible, we'll get it paid. But there'll be instances where you've either got the insurance may have lapsed, the insurance company isn't going to pay, then you have to get the patient to pay, and that's why they have collection agencies.
Yeah.
So you're not only going to, there's always, if you talk to collection agencies, they'll tell you that doctors are probably one of their biggest clients because sometimes patients just don't want to pay.
Yeah.
But the one good thing about it is you only get paid on what the doctor gets paid. And so that's your selling point to the doctor. We only bill you on what you get paid, Dr. Jones. And so that's a great selling point.
Yeah, that's right. We don't get paid unless you get paid. All right, let's see. Karina says, is the training solely based on the marketing, or does it have some standard billing and compliance training? I guess they're talking about the the week-long training here in Texas, but we also have training on the licensee support side, of course, too. So
exactly. It's been 8 years since I've gone through training, but I remember it was leaned heavily toward marketing. I can't imagine that has changed much. Learning the billing side is not difficult at all.
Right.
And you're taking it from a guy who used to put on events and do radio. And believe me, I'm not a math genius at all. Details aren't my thing, but we were able to figure the billing part out fairly easily. What's difficult is marketing. That's where the real work, that's where the real sweat comes in, sweat equity. So yeah. I don't think it's changed, has it, Patrick? You still deal with marketing for the most part?
There's about a day and a half on the marketing, and folks, again, that's the hardest part of any business. You can learn how to do medical billing. We've got lots of training modules on our website that you can learn on your own 24/7 anytime you want to after you've gone through our week's training. But to get started in business, you have to have clients. So we do spend a little time there on teaching you how to get a client. That's the most important part. I even ask people now, Bob, if we had a client for you the day you got back from this training, would you take it? Would you take that client? And everybody says yes, because you learn what you need to learn, right, to be able to get a client up and running. And we've got a lot of help.
In the business I've been self-employed most of my adult life, where I had to learn on the job, and you learn it because you have to.
Yeah, that's right. Andre says, if you were not doing what you're doing now and were looking for a business opportunity, would you invest in ABS?
Well,
I'll hold my ears.
Yeah. Next question. Of course, I wouldn't do anything else. We love what we. This is fun. That is problem.
Let's see. Sophia says, do we learn all there is in 5 days, and how long does the licensing take? Well, I kind of interpret that to mean a couple of things there. First of all, no, you don't learn all you need to know in 5 days, do you, Bob? It's
You're not.
You learn enough to get started. Yeah, you're still learning, right? Yeah. Folks, that's why we do weekly training webinars for our licensees. Now, they're not on Wednesdays, they're on Fridays, and we record those, of course, and post those out on our private licensee website. But our training for licensees goes on and on and on, because there's always something new to learn about marketing, running your business, all those things. And the licensing, really, by the end of the week, you are certified. We do give you a certification, but that's assuming that you're going to go to our licensee website and go through some of the training that's there as well, of course. But we do give you that licensing that week. Charles, do you have a need to use a referral fee as an incentive to your clients when a doctor refers somebody?
We've thought of doing that, and for some groups I've heard that works. Some companies that does work. Some people hire salesmen to go out and sell medical billing on their behalf as well. Everybody's different. If you can put together a referral program that rewards those that bring clients to you, that's great. But let me just warn you, or warn's probably not the right word, but there's a better way, and that's through networking. And if you belong to a good networking group, and may I mention BNI here, is that okay, Patrick?
Sure, yeah.
BNI, Business Networking International. We only went to it because every time we went on a webinar with Patrick and one of his successful licensees, the question always arose, how did you find your clients? And almost without question, they always said BNI, BNI, BNI. So Molly and I, after a year, joined BNI. And if it weren't for BNI and if it weren't for ABS first, BNI second, we would not be in business today. And I haven't had to pay anybody at BNI for a referral.
Yeah.
So why pay them when, and by the way, you can help your other fellow BNI chapter mates find business as well, because that's what it's all about.
Yeah, it's a great organization. We're talking about Business Networking International, and it's BNI.com. So go out there and Google that. Get on the interwebs and find out more about that. Okay, let's see. Jesse says you're having problems with video. It's constantly freezing. Well, on my end, it's not, Jesse. And Bob, you're not having any problems, are you? So.
A little chilly in here, but other than that, we're fine.
Jesse, that's probably something to do.
No tech here, no tech problems.
Yeah, you may have some kind of, maybe too many other programs running in the background or something. Okay. Rashid says, can your employees be anywhere in the world?
Well, I would prefer they be anywhere in the United States. They could be, yes.
Yeah.
But previously, we have an employee who is in Connecticut. So yes, you can hire people. They can work for you remotely.
Yeah. Bill says, what kind of a work day do you have? I think you kind of addressed this earlier. How many hours a day or week? You said 8 to 10 hours a day is what you work. So any more time off to have a life, he says.
That's what we're working toward. Keep in mind, our business is only 8 years old, and really only worked really hard full-time for the past 5 or 6. So our goal is to get to the point where we can take more time off and have our people run the business.
Sure. I'm working towards that myself after 22 years. No, I actually have turned the company over to my son, who's the president, and some other people that run the company now. And I work here from my home, but I still do this because I love it. I love helping people. I love sharing success stories like Bob's with other people. So, okay, well, folks, we're going to wrap up here in just a second. I'm going to put our guarantee up on the screen there that you can read if you're not paying attention to what's on the slides there. But I have just a couple of other questions I'll squeeze in here, Bob, real fast. Let's see. Edward says, essentially, am I buying a job job, or am I buying an opportunity to build a lifestyle? Bob is making it sound. Bob is making it like I'm trading a job for another job. Is this an opportunity to create a freeing lifestyle?
Well, certainly. First of all, when you're self-employed, that no matter what you're doing, that's always the opportunity. It depends on what you do with that opportunity once it's given to you. But yes, you could build a business to where you can have other people running it once you've got it to where you want it to be, and take time for yourself. That's really up to you.
Yeah.
Aaron's job.
Yeah. Running a business, especially if you have employees, it can be a challenge, but you're still in charge. I think of freedom as being in charge. I take off when I want to. I make the kind of money I want to. I hire people and fire people as I want to. That's the difference between having a job and not having a business. Let's see. Okay. Jesse says, are we able to practice billing at your workshops? Yes, Jesse, the first day. I don't know if we did this or not, Bob. We bring in laptops now the first day and let people start getting them.
They weren't invented when I was there.
Laptops were not invented?
Maybe they were.
Okay, well, with that, we're going to let you go, Bob. Thank you so much for your time today. I know this has been an encouragement to a lot of people. Appreciate that. And hey, if some of them even wanted to call you and talk to you, is that okay if we let them go through our consultants and get your number?
Absolutely. Please, give them my number at any time. Happy to speak to them. It was nice speaking to all of you today. And I couldn't give a stronger testimonial for ABS and Patrick and his crew. They've always been there for us. No matter what, I've stipulated that, mentioned that before, and we couldn't recommend them more. Thank you for your support, Patrick.
Hey, remind me to send you that Lamborghini I promised you.
Yeah, the 12-inch one?
Yeah. Okay, Bob, thanks again. I appreciate you being on here.